from a little cover. I got my dreams in sight, wrestling on the mat. I go and put up a fight with every hold and slam. I rise to the peak. Now as Professor Bear, it's my strength that they see. Roaring with knowledge like a lion so proud. In this wrestling world, I'm standing out loud. I'm Professor Bear, got the passion to spare. Wrestling's my life with the power to share. From the roots to ropes, in the spotlight we gleam, chasing victory dreams, living out the theme. Now my WOSN, my squad.
Yeah. Hey, new beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
With my boys crew, we'll always ride. In the wrestling world, why just claim the prize.
Welcome, 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 and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, as you can tell with the shirt, and this is a Bear's Thoughts. And my thought for the day is I love wrestling. I mean, it's just been such an amazing journey in this month alone of learning about different promotions, and it's been really cool. And I have a gentleman today that is representing Mississippi and Omega Championship Wrestling. It is Mike. Mike, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, before we get started on the interview, guys, girls, I want y'all to see where my logo has disappeared and you see a new one. This is Omega Championship Wrestling logo. Now, the reason I put it up there because I know some of y'all are going to want to see what's going on with this promotion. So I want to let y'all see their logo because unfortunately with wrestling, there are sometimes similar names and similar companies, and we can easily get confused. So we definitely don't want that to happen.
Right.
And if you look above me at the QR code, if you scan that QR code, it will take you to their YouTube page so you can get to see all the exciting action and different things from their company. Now, with that being said, the question I always start off with is, how did you become a wrestling fan?
Man, it's a little different than everybody. So I'm 26 years of age, so I didn't get to grow up in the Attitude Era like a lot of people. I actually started watching wrestling. I can remember it like it was yesterday. My very first wrestling show was WrestleMania 28. I would have been 13, 12 or 13. I think I was 12 going on 13 that year. And I remembered it like it was yesterday, watching Undertaker versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell, Cena versus The Rock, the first match, the once in a lifetime match. And that just kind of launched me into a world of wrestling that I didn't know I was going to enjoy until I watched it. And now can't get away from it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, hell, I'm 52 and been watching it since I was 3, 4. So I definitely understand the power of wrestling.
Yeah.
So with that match, and I mean with that pay-per-view, who drew you in the most that you were just like, oh my God, he's the greatest?
I mean, obviously, John Cena's going to come up first just by the longevity. Now, leading up to that match, I had seen like little small clips, but I think that was the first show where I had watched it from start to finish. And like I said, I didn't get to see Prime Undertaker and Triple H up to that point, but I can tell by and Shawn Michaels even, but I can tell just from that match and the build up to those matches that it was, I went back and watched the build up, that those two are at least in the top 10 greatest of all time when it comes to wrestling, with the John Cena and The Rock as well. And like I said, just watching that match, I didn't have to be there for the Attitude Era to know that these guys were the bar, you know. So
how did you go from just being a wrestling fan to actually getting into the wrestling business?
That's a more fun story. So I was, we'll go back. So after that, I had a cousin of mine who, he was also a wrestling fan. He's a little older than me. And I remember we were 15. He had a rinky-dink wrestling ring, just some plywood set on tires. And we were taking bumps and we were doing wrestling moves and stuff like that. And fast forward to a company that was in the Delta called Alpha Wrestling Association, where he was working with them. And he invited me to come out and say, hey, Mike, you know, I got this company over here. I knew we used to be wrestlers back when we were kids. You want to come over here and train? And I think my very first, I went and watched his match. It was his debut match. This was November 2022, I think. I watched his debut match and I was like, okay, yeah, I want to get in with these guys. And January 2023, my very first training session, and they actually invited me to be the referee of the show. So my very first time in a ring, in a professional ring, and I refereed 5, maybe 6 matches in the same on our very first night.
Wow.
Yeah. And
damn, that is crazy.
Yeah, it just goes about opportunity. It's what I always tell people. You never know when the time's going to come where it's your time to step in the ring. And from that day forward, I refereed for them for about 2 years, all the way up until I launched Omega Championship Wrestling. And I got the ring. I was just like, we're gonna do something. We're gonna run shows. And a lot of the same guys that were working with that company worked with us because a lot of our guys were the Alpha Wrestling Association was based in the Mississippi Delta. And so a lot of the guys were from close to Mississippi Delta. And I got in contact with those guys and, hey, we're a new company. Do you guys want to come out and, let's run a show? And and the rest is history.
So, okay, I'm gonna go back to your refereeing days.
Yeah.
How I could imagine if that was me and I was putting on in that spot. My mind would be going batshit crazy on everything, trying to remember and know and the stuff I say. How were you able to make it through all that?
So you're right on par with it. I was excited, scared, hype, every emotion you can think of for a referee, and I was that. And I'll never forget it. The matches that I had, we had a few wrestlers there that were also training me, and when they found out I was going to be referee, now I didn't know how to referee. I wasn't trained to referee. Everything I knew about refereeing was from what I seen on TV. Now I'm a big fan of Mike Chioda and Charles Robinson. Those are I did model my referee after those two. After, but that first day, because it wasn't a 3, 4, 5 day buildup. It was the day of the show. They came to me, hey, our 2 referees didn't make it. Do you think you can do it? And everything in my body's telling me, oh man, I'm gonna mess this show up. Tell them no. But sure enough, out of my mouth, I'm like, let's do it. And for the next 2 hours before the show, it was just pounding into training of the cadences, the counts, and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've messed up. I can't. Let me see. I think I'm in the 40 or 50 match ish refereed. And those first 20 were not. I can go ahead and tell you they were not going to be great. I did try to. I did come from a working background where looking professional was always a thing. So tucking in the shirt was that stuff came naturally. And then once I started getting comfortable, I started doing great sliding. When I was going down to count, slides were on point. And when I say I was messing up, I mean, I remember, I'll give you a story. I was in a triple threat for the women's championship match in this company with a couple of wrestlers. It was Nyx, it was C-Rex, and it was one more. I can't remember her name. So it's so long ago, but it was.
Well, funny enough, I know the two you name. I've been a few of them.
It was a triple threat with those two ladies, and it was one more. I can't remember. I think it was Rose something. I can't remember. And I apologize if she watches this, and I'm so sorry if I forgot your name. It's been so long. I remember those two because Nyx, she's been all over. Shout out to Nyx. She's been all over the South. And then C-Rex, I remember C-Rex because she tore into me after the match. So the triple threat went like this. Nyx, she pinned the third girl. Now, they didn't tell me who's winning, who's not. They don't tell me. And I try not to. I like it to be a surprise so I can keep it as a shoot when I count. And I don't know what it was in my mind. They get down to the pin. Nyx was pinning somebody. C-Rex was on the outside. Nyx was going over. It was 1, 2, and as I'm coming down for the 3, she didn't kick out, and I just kind of froze. Before I hit 3, I just froze. Well, let me tell you why I froze, because C-Rex was coming in from the side, and I thought the spot was going to be she was going to break it up.
Right.
But they told me afterwards, they was like, no, I was going to get there just after you hit that 3. And they went into another spot right after where I think Nyx won by submission. But C-Rex, she tore a new one into me after that. I love C-Rex. She meant it out of love, but boy, she was not happy afterwards. We actually got a few guys. Shout out to them up there. They working in Arkansas with the new company over there. Him and her, and we have the Big Boss Hall of Famer Tip that goes over there, but yeah, she was tore me a new one.
And just for people who do not know who C-Rex is, she is such a sweet woman. She is. But I will tell you, I'm 6'4", 300. I would not if I knew I made her mad, I would leave. I would leave.
Well,
even
as the
my old podcast, I would get up and just walk the hell out. I have no reason to ever have smoke with C-Rex.
Absolutely. And you know what? I was feeling the same way, but I was, as a referee, I knew I messed up, and I was like, I got to go apologize. I got to tell them I'm sorry because I messed up their match, because it took the crowd out of it. The crowd was like, what happened? And like I said, I was still green, so I was like, she got the shoulder, and then she did break it up. She seen that I froze, so she went ahead and broke it up. But she was like, you've got to count. You've got to count to 3. If she's got them shoulders down, you've got to count to 3. And I was like, I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. So after doing the refereeing for 2 years, what made you decide I'm going to start my own company?
Talking with friends, because I was afraid. Not gonna lie, I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. And I talked to friends that were like just giving me the motivation to be like, well, because I was helping out Alpha a little bit towards the end of my time there, not with booking, but the behind the scenes part. So I started to understand it a little bit more.
Right.
And then a few of them were like, Mike, you got leadership skills. Why don't you try to do something on your own? And I had put it across a few wrestlers, because I'm still friends with the wrestlers I was refereeing with. A lot of the wrestlers I refereed for, so they knew that I knew. So at the start, they knew I knew. Now I was not perfect at the start, and then I was very new when it came to the first shows. But they seen the vision. We had a few of them that seen the vision from the start. We have a few of them that seen it after a while of running shows. And like I said, just having friends behind me that are like, Mike, you got it, you can do it. And then like I've got guys that are behind me that give me pointers, because I'm like I said, still young in the business, still learning. Every show I'm learning something new, something I can do different for the next show. I always spend time, go back watching old shows. Hey, this is what I can do different. Yeah, I think that's about what got me there. Yeah.
What's amazing to me is you're being so young and taking that step that I think a lot of fans would love to do, but wouldn't know where to start, or just wouldn't attempt it. What gave you the courage, as far as, well, no, was it a dream of yours to own a promotion?
No, not at the beginning. The dream was to become a wrestler, because I was training to be a wrestler. And even after starting the company, I was still on track, and I was going to do it. I was going to still get in the ring. I had a feud with one of my wrestlers we had going, where because I was, at the time, I called myself the GM as well as the CEO, and we and him had a feud going. And just kind of a few months in, I was like, because I still referee in my own shows. I still do. Not every match. It's not all matches like it used to be. I do have other referees, but it's every so often, if I'll referee the main event. If I needed to go a certain way, that I would trust myself as the experienced referee, because the other referee I have, he first started refereeing whenever OCW started. So I gave him the opportunity that I was given.
Okay.
But because I also had the experience, if I needed to put myself in the referee spot to ensure that a certain outcome happens the way I'd like it to, I do. Now I am going to step back. I am now stepping back a little bit more, but when we first started, it was definitely there. And I was out to prove to my guys, like, hey, I know it's a satire person that's mentioned, but I was going the Vince McMahon motto, which is, I'm not going to ask you to do something I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't do. So like I think the second show I refereed, and I told him, I said, after with the guy that I was feuding with, I was like, hey man, after it, I'm gonna screw you over during the match. Get a chair, give me a chair shot after the show, and lay it into me. And he did, and I was sore for like 2 weeks from that one chair shot that he gave the first one, and he gave me 2 or 3, I think. But it was me setting an example. Like, I'm not going to tell you guys to come out here and put your life, put your health on the line if I wouldn't do it.
And that is always, to me, such a big step, and help you believe in the person if they're willing to do what they're asking you to do.
Absolutely.
So, being that it was new, and did you feel overwhelmed wearing so many different hats?
So I say it all the time. It's never been a stress at the time. It's never been a stress thing, because I love wrestling. It's not a job because I love to do it. It just feels like another thing that I love to do. And I shout out TJ again. He comes from the OCW page. I shared I know him. I shared the live on OCW page, and he came from it. Anyways, what was I about to say? I lost track. I'm sorry.
It's not stress when you.
Okay. Right. So it's something I love to do. Now there was a stretch because we were running in Cleveland, Mississippi. That's where we started at, and we had to go a few months outside of Cleveland because the gym, they were remodeling their gym. So we had gone up to Tunica, Mississippi, the Tunica area, and we ran some shows. During that time, it did start to feel overwhelmed because that's a 2-hour drive from where I live. So I was driving 2 hours there, 2 hours back with minimum. That's without the ring strapped to the back of the truck. With it, it's more like 3. And doing all that, and then we get there, and the shows were good, but they wasn't quite as good as Cleveland. The Cleveland shows, so it was kind of discouraging because the ticket, it felt like the tickets were declining. So I was like, it was getting discouraging where I was like, man. And I think at that point the wrestlers were kind of like, I don't know, if, they were starting to see my discouragement, maybe lost a little faith there because they were thinking, well, because in the Mississippi Delta there's not a lot of companies that run monthly,
Right.
But I prided myself. We did 19 shows in 2025.
Wow.
Yeah, but there was a couple of them where we were like, there was a month there where me and my wife, we were just like, I don't know if this is right. Is God telling me to do something else? Because the tickets were on a little bit of a decline, which was expected, but I still didn't really want it to happen. But it was expected, and they always tell you, your business when it first starts, you're always it's gonna be bumpy when you first start. But me being young, I try to keep that in my mind, but at the same time, I'm looking at my books and I'm like, I don't know, maybe this isn't what I need to be doing. But after just consulting with my wife, and we sat and we prayed about it, and it was like, we're going to continue to push forward. But it was about a week where I was like, the stress and it did overwhelm me. It was like a week last year where I was close, but not like super close, but it was considering like, okay, maybe this isn't what I was called to do. And then right that week after I got my confidence back, and it was boom, we're going.
So you kicked out at 2, not that late
right.
2, that early 2.
It was an early 2. It was an early 2.
Oh.
And ever since I've that was back in, I think that because that was early 2, because we started in November 2023. I'm sorry, 2024. And this was like January 2025. So we were still brand new.
Oh,
and I had got the discouragement a little bit there. But after it, like I said, for that little week, it was in my brain. But after that week, it was all right. We're pushing. Let's go. And that's when we did 19 shows. And like I said, after that, we did 19 shows in 12 months.
Man, that is awesome. What would you say has been the biggest learning lesson for you with having this company?
That I can't do it all. That I can't do it all. I try and I tried. And this is something that I just learned this like 3 months ago. Like, I'm gonna burn myself out. If I didn't feel burnt out, but like that's what the guys behind me were telling me, like, Mike, you're going to get burnt out, because it felt like my whole life focused on what do I need to do for the OCW show? Oh, I gotta referee these matches. I gotta be here to turn the lights out. I gotta do this. I didn't delegate. But I needed to. And it was, like I said, right, I think the October area where I was like, I finally started getting people that I trusted, that I'm like, I've just got to have faith in these guys. Or it's either have faith in them or just do it all myself. And I can't do it all myself. I only got 2 hands. And then we put investments into like getting radios to communicate between us without having everybody be there, and just everything I can do to try to be at the gorilla position as much as possible.
And I definitely understand where you're talking about. I've been there many a times, and generally it's the people that you really can depend on is always the one to tell you, hey, you need to calm down. You need to do this. I understand you feel this way, but I'm telling you, you got us to help.
Absolutely.
And it's so for me, it was so encouraging to hear that without having to ask, that people really care about you and believe in what you believe in and are strong enough to, hey, you got to hear this. And I'd rather you hear it from me than anyone else.
Absolutely. I try to pride into myself into treating the locker room not as the CEO, not as I'm the CEO, but as I'm another like obviously I'm calling the shots behind the scenes, but I want my wrestlers to feel comfortable and my production crew, my referee, everybody to feel comfortable to be like, hey, if I'm doing something wrong, because I'm like I said, I've only been doing this since November 2024, so I'm still freshly, decently new. I've grown since then. But I will tell them if I'm doing something wrong, if you're thinking that, hey, look, this doesn't make sense. Hey, this story doesn't make sense. To be like, or if my production crew saying, Mike, you just need to chill out because you're getting too stressed. Because at the shows, there was a couple of times where I was so stressed out that I'm irritated right an hour before the show because I want everything to go exactly where it needs, how it needs to be. I want everybody to be exactly where I want them to be and everything like that. And it's like, no, Mike, you can chill, just chill. We got time. Everybody ain't got to be right here next to you the whole time. And I have, like I said, like you said, I have a very good support system behind me that will hold me accountable, which is a big thing, especially in business, is that a lot of, I believe a lot of companies, not wrestling, just in general, not just wrestling, but in general, that there's somebody in charge and nobody's holding them accountable. Nobody's telling them, hey, you can be better in this area and that area. And I'm so happy to have a support system that holds me accountable, especially when I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, that is always a great thing when you have it, like you said, any business to have that real team, and they know they're a part of the team where they can, hey, ABC, you need to. I understand you're the boss, but you need to kind of calm down and maybe go in this direction.
Right. And I always tell her because I get the comment like, well, maybe they're just telling you what you want to hear, because my wife will tell me, are you sure they're not telling you what you want to hear just so they ain't getting fired? And I tell them, I'm like, surely it's not, because I tell these guys, words against me don't affect me. Words don't affect me. I'm a referee. These them wrestling fans will let me know all day long. It's right off the chest. You know, it's right back to them. And so I have thick skin. So I'm telling them, like, look, if you need to tell me that something's going wrong, don't be afraid. Come and tell me. It's not your words that'll get you in trouble. It's your actions. If you're going out and you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, that's a different story. But if you're just telling me like, hey, Mike, I think what you got going is wrong, and then we can figure it out from there. But I'm not gonna let somebody go just because of some words, you know?
Right. So with again, with you being so young and this is a new business and everything, who is the person that you go to when you need to get advice in the business?
That's good. So my cameraman is a big one. My man Donovan Haygood. I called him by first and last name. He'd be all right. My man Donovan, been a lifelong friend. I've known him since I was 11 years old. We went to school together. We graduated together. I call him a brother. My man TJ Gaiman that you just seen, his name Marcus. I was actually in a call with him right before I got on. We were talking about the podcast and stuff like that. My wife, she's not a big wrestling fan, but she does help me as far as business goes. And I mean, the list goes on, and I've got plenty of people that I'm just like, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And now whether I use the advice they give me is another thing, but I'm always looking for advice, looking for, hey, you know, what do you think about this? What would you do in this situation? If it was you in my shoes, what would you do? And we go from there.
One thing that I've passed this on to my children, and I truly believe this. If you ask someone for their advice, it's you listening to what they say, but doesn't mean you have to do what they say.
Absolutely.
In the end, it's still going to be your decision. You have to just make the choice. Okay, I'm going to do what they say, but I can't blame them for the outcome, because
Right.
it
'Cause it's
boils
still your
down to
choice.
what I choose to do.
That's what my wife says. She'll say, quote, I can tell you advice all day long, but at the end of the day, it's your vision. And so you can take she would say, you can take my advice and throw it right out the window, or you could take it and you can run with it. But regardless, it's your vision. You've got to do what you feel is right.
Hey, you have a smart wife. I mean, because that's what a lot of times I think in life we always want to blame someone else for our mistakes,
Right.
and instead of owning up and say, "Well, it's not their fault. I chose to go that route."
Right.
Why should I blame them? I didn't have to do it. And
Yeah.
so, tell me about your booking style with your company.
So again, I knew a lot of these wrestlers from when I was refereeing before I got control of the book. Like 90% of them. And then I get guys from out of town. Like we had somebody coming from Vegas, traveling all the way from Las Vegas to Cleveland, Mississippi, to be at our shows. We had some from New Jersey. We had a guy from New Jersey wanted to come, and he drove from New Jersey all the way down to Mississippi to be on one of our shows, which was awesome. I told him, I was like, dude, you are a trooper. But like I said, so since I knew these guys that were from the Delta for longer, I knew their style, I knew their promo styles, which I kind of let them free range when it comes to promos, as long as I do have a certain rule set. Like, hey, we're not dropping F-bombs. We are kid friendly. We want to keep the PG to PG-13 threshold. We don't want to go into the rated R a lot, if not at all. So the promos, I kind of let them free range. I do ask that they send them to me, so I'll look it over. I'm like, hey, and I'll edit it down maybe, or I'll say, hey, could you, maybe rephrase this and this and this. And then as far as booking style, the stories write themselves. I started a story in November 14th, and when I tell you, it's just every show flows into the next. Where I have I call it my WrestleMania, my unofficial WrestleMania. It's called OCW Crossfire. But I told myself I'm going to have our biggest show. It's usually on our year anniversary. So we just had our 1 year anniversary back in November at OCW Crossfire. And I had put that match together based off of everything. But I had told myself, okay, next year I'm going to set the card for November 2026, and everything's going to flow towards that. And which I have, and I'm not going to release it, but I have it. I have the plan all the way that far ahead. But as far as booking goes, first off, it was about who showed up, attendance, right? So obviously I can't get everybody. I think we have 20 to 25 wrestlers to choose from. I keep them in a group chat, that way I can, hey, who's available for this one? And it's basically from there, hey, who can make it?
Right.
And now there are some guys who will tell me months in advance, hey, I can make this, and this. And there's other guys who are, hey, I'm coming. Shout out my longest reigning champion, the Monster Malachi, who we just awarded our Wrestler of the Year because he didn't miss a show, never missed a show. He made sure he was moving everything to make sure he was there, and he's super talented, and he's got a good manager, so he's a great character. And he held the title from, I think, March all the way to November, taking it from the instant classic Geo Savage, if you know who that is. But it's just about that. It's every show. It's okay. Cause I had the problem, and I've told my wrestlers this too, is like, you guys, some of them will tell me, and not all of them, it's just a couple of collect ones that will say, well, this story doesn't, it doesn't feel like you're having me any stories. And I'll say, well, how many shows have you made? How many shows have you told me you can make? I've got the full year schedule ready for 2026, and I'll release it. And the same people who are saying, well, this story doesn't make sense, or this story it just doesn't seem like a good story, you're only telling me 2 weeks before the show, hey, I can make this show, and you're not telling me anything in the future. You're not telling me how far you want to go. And I understand people have lives. I'm not saying that they have to, but if you give me a general idea of, hey, what shows can you make, then I can from there book the way I can. I mean, I can book the way people want me to. When you're giving me, if you're telling me like again, the Monster Malachi, he's told me 2026, unless the world ends, he said he's moving mountains to make sure he's going to be there every single show. So I'm like, okay, cool. I know exactly what I want you to do then.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense. If you want to be a player, you have to play the with the Triple H reference. But you literally have to be there and to do the work. You're just not going to get handed anything.
Right. I tell them, I told them from the jump, I kind of built the locker room where attendance was going to play a key part and your talent was going to play a key part. And you can, if you're showing up to every show and your talent's a little sub lacking, you're still going to get opportunities because you're there every show. And vice versa. If your talent's good, but you're not there every show, again, I can give you some opportunities. I'm not going to put a title. I wouldn't put a title or nothing like that. Potentially, I potentially would, but most of the time not, because you're not there every show, but your talent's there, but you're still going to be booked pretty good and pretty strong. But attendance has got to be the key, because it's one Saturday a month, and like I said, not everybody can make that. I understand, but like I said, I can't stop booking just because a select few. I'm not going to hold my stories back because you didn't want to make a show,
right?
So it's just the show must go on.
Are you the only booker, or do you have a committee to help?
Not anything official. Officially, it's just me. Okay. Like I said, I do have a couple of guys where I'll sit with them and I'll shoot an idea to them, like, hey, what do you think about this story? And then there's some things where I'm like, because they're fans too, they're watching the show even though they can't make it. My cameraman's one of them, where I do run ideas by him, but I don't like when it's main stuff. Like I got something big cooking for this next few shows. I haven't told them about it because I want it to be just as much a surprise to them as the fans are, because they're gonna be like, Mike, oh my gosh, you were cooking with the booking. Right. So I try to not necessarily hold it to the chest, but I do, like, some things I allow people to put some input in, and other things it's just let me keep it to my chest.
And understandable. So tell me about the style of wrestling that your promotion does.
The style would be because it's many. It's plenty of styles. It ranges from old school. A lot of our guys are still not necessarily new. We do have not a lot of them. We do have a few guys that are still new, so they're wrestling in the old school style, because to me, when you start wrestling, you need to learn old school before you start doing all this flippy stuff the spot fests. Because if you can't, you got to walk before you can run.
Right.
But then we have the veterans there that do newer style, but they still center it around. No, I love AEW. I love the wrestlers there. I am more of a storytelling booker. I want you to tell the story. It doesn't need to have all this flashy stuff. It can. It doesn't have. It didn't. I'm not saying don't, but if you doing all of these spots takes away from the story, then don't do them. But like I said, because we're trying to tell the story to the crowd, because I want to reward my fans. Because we have a plenty of fans. We have on a bad show we have 60 show up, and then on a good show we're doing 120 in a small building. And these guys and these fans, they come and they're coming loud, and we want to reward those who come to every show by saying, "Oh, okay, this happened this show because of what happened last show."
Right.
But as far as the styles go, like I said, it ranges from it's mostly old school, Memphis wrestling, you know, you're talking Jerry the King Lawler back in You're talking Jerry the King Lawler back in North Mississippi when but we're mixing in a little new style with it too. But as long as it's keeping the fans invested, I'm happy.
And the main reason why I asked about the style of wrestling, because there are so many different companies out there, and I understand everybody has their certain style that they prefer.
Right.
And like myself, I'm an old bear. I'm 52 years old. So my initial thing about wrestling is storytelling.
Absolutely.
You have to, if you catch me with the story, and it doesn't even have to be the storytelling from the sense of doing promos and stuff. You
Right.
can story tell in the ring. So I'm just I notice things where most a lot of modern fans wouldn't notice. Okay, I see what he did. Okay, he planted that. That was a good spot, and I bet nobody even really noticed it. And if this guy is really good, he's gonna bring it up. And
Right.
it's like that type of storytelling I'm a big fan of.
Uh,
And I just love when younger guys mix both, because
Yeah.
like you said, if you can't do the basics, it's hard to come across as a legitimate wrestler if you can't do basic things to entice the crowd without making it a spot fest.
Right. I'll give you a good example. We had a show. This was back in September, I believe. We had a match. It was for our OCW Delta champion. We have an OCW World Heavyweight Champion, and we have the OCW Delta Championship. This was our undercard title, but it was two veterans that were holding it. It was two veterans fighting over it. The Big Boss Hall of Famer and the Russian Nightmare. I went back and edited these shows myself, and I'm going back and editing this match. I'm to this match, and it's 20 minutes long. But if you go the full, it's entertainment. The whole 20 minutes is entertaining. But if you go back and you're watching it, there may be one big spot where they do a good clean spine buster. The rest, it's just working the crowd. It's working over a body part. The Russian Nightmare, the heel, working over a body part. They're working the crowd. They're getting the crowd super invested. They were loud. And this wasn't just a one-off match. They did have a story building up to this. But just if you just put that match by itself without the story, they were crowd super invested. They were the babyface TIP super over. The Russian Nightmare super over as a heel. They were booing the heck out of him. They didn't let him get a word. Every time he taunted, that crowd went nuts booing him. But it was 18 to 20 minutes of just that. It didn't need all that flashy stuff. It was just working over a body part, telling that story for the 18 minutes, and just getting the crowd to be active.
What I took most out of that is that you said it was building a story, but you didn't need to know the story to be invested.
Right.
Right there is the key. Where, hey, I'm on YouTube and I'm just surfing. I come across that match. I'm invested in that match now. It's like, wow, that was awesome. I don't know what, who, where, when, but
you didn't have to know
it got me so invested. Now I got to make sure I see the next show, because I want to know what's going on with it. And hey, you know what? Let me go back to see if they have earlier stuff so I can learn about it.
Well, think about the two examples I gave you at the beginning. My first two matches I ever seen was Undertaker and Triple H, Hell in a Cell, and John Cena and The Rock. The first match, Once in a Lifetime. I watched those matches, and I'm super invested to these matches before even knowing the story. I had to go back to watch the story after watching the matches, and so that inspired me going forward. Like when I started the company and thinking of the booking, it's like, dude, I want the feeling that those matches gave me. I want that feeling for the fans. Like, yeah, these matches did have their spots, but it wasn't about the spots itself. It's about the storytelling. And shout out to the commentary team, because they did help a lot with the storytelling. But even if you took out the commentary, you're still invested.
And that's another great point that you brought up, the commentary team, because they help make the story more believable. They help people who don't know the story get into the story. They're putting different thoughts in your mind that, oh wow, okay, I would have never known that if the commentator didn't mention that.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Now, like I said, one thing I love about wrestling, and I'm big on saying this, wrestling is a true team sport.
It is.
Even if it's not just based on the two wrestlers. If it's a singles match, you can't have that without the referee.
Right.
You can't have the match without a good commentating team that help give story. You can't, if a manager or a valet is involved, they bring something to it. The cameraman who's catching the shots and the angles and stuff. It is more of a team sport than most people would identify and give credit to.
You have no idea. They have no idea how much is actually behind it. And to go to your commentary part, we didn't have one. We didn't have any commentary. We didn't. I think we went a while with none. And to your point, I was like, what would add such a good element to this? Commentary. Well, I didn't really have anybody there. It was just me. So I was like, you know what? When I edit the shows, I'll go back over the edits and then commentate over it, and then I'll release it like that. And I did it a couple shows with it just me, and it just didn't feel right. So I stopped because I didn't have anybody to bounce off of. It's always important for a commentary. You need somebody to bounce off. And shout out my man Wilson Fist, who came to me. He runs a social media wrestling association. They do fantasy booking on Facebook, and he comes to me and he comes to the shows, and he's friends with some of the wrestlers too. And he's like, hey, Mike, if I would love to help you out. If you want to get on commentary, I'd love to, because he does commentary for his social media thing. So I was like, well, heck yeah, we can do that. We can give it a test run. And my man Donovan, my cameraman, he came onto one of them and helped us the first one. And what we did was I would take the show, I would get done, because I start editing. The show ends on Saturday. I'll probably have it done, edited by Wednesday, Thursday, because I still have my other jobs. And I'll tell them, hey, Sunday, 4 o'clock, because I go live on Facebook every Sunday anyway. I was like, hey, Sunday, 4 o'clock, let's rewatch the show. And we're going to do live commentary for our Facebook followers right there on Facebook. And we did it, and we've done it the last two shows, and I think the fans love it. I think it does add that element to the stories where people who want to know what happened before without having to go back and watch, well, we can help put that over. If this person hasn't lost in X amount of time, we need to be putting that over on commentary. And that's what that brings. And we have fun doing it. It's a lot of fun.
And I think what I'm very much enjoying is you being true to yourself and not being a person like, well, of course I thought of this and, I did this, I do everything right. I love the fact that you are very open about, hey, I'm new at this. I'm trying this. This didn't work. I'm doing this. Hey, I had to step back because people who trying to help me and help me grow, trying to stop me before I burn myself out. I really enjoy that element of being open. Yeah. And I really enjoy listening to your journey with everything. So with that being said, what is the future goal for Omega Championship Wrestling?
So my long-term goal is, I always tell people, the long-term goal is to be the biggest company in Mississippi. That's the long-term goal, right? The short-term goal, I would say, is to go ahead and we're looking to get our monetized on Facebook and YouTube to get our product out there, which we just got it on Facebook. I think 2 weeks ago, we just hit the threshold to get the fans to get monetized there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. YouTube, we shouldn't be far from YouTube. But putting that aside, our goal is to just double up everything we did last year, because the stats on our last year were I didn't know how much they were, because I'm saying, like I said, we're getting 100 fans in there and everything like that, and we're getting 100 fans in the arena, and I'm not realizing that when you add all this stuff up, there's a lot of eyes on the product. And our next goal is we have 100 people in the crowd. We'd like to get to 200 or 300 by the end of 2026, where we can get our product put out there, and then also to get sponsors onto the show that way, and hopefully talk about potentially a local TV deal where we can get on TV for the local in the local news stations and things like that, where we can showcase these guys, because I want these guys, and the reason I post all of their content on our channel is it's a win-win, because if people watch their YouTube, if companies watch their YouTube and invite them out to tryouts and things like that, that's a win for them. On the flip side, if people watch their product and say, I want to be a part of that product, and they come to me to get booked, that's a win for me. So it's a win-win. And like I said, our product has brought in guys from all over. We had guys from all over the country. Like I said, we had the Russian Nightmare that was a part of OCW for a while. We had a guy from Africa. He was he was born in Africa. He was from here. We had people traveling from New Jersey, Las Vegas, Oklahoma. We have all these people that are wanting to come and be a part of OCW, and that right there I take pride in, to say to be like, we're a small company, but people are watching us. People are inspired by what we're doing and want to be a part of what I would assume they would think is a winning team.
I love it. What's your outlook with working with other companies?
So that's a good question. So we actually have a company that we do work with called North Delta Championship Wrestling. They're based out of Clarksville, Mississippi, where the Big Boss Hall of Famer TIP, one of the wrestlers, is actually the promoter over there. And we work with them a lot. We're also close friends with Modern Wrestling Entertainment, where one of our wrestlers, Cobra King, also runs that company. And potentially, I'm not going to spoil anything, but potentially we're hoping to get some big news from another company here in the next few months, hopefully. But I'm always open. It's not a competition. I'm not a big territorial. I thought at the beginning I may have joked or thought that it was a territorial thing, but I think in the world of wrestling, it's everybody should be helping everybody, because at the end of the day, unless you're WWE, AEW, one of those big companies, we're all trying to make it. We're all down here in the bottom trying to make it to the top. And if you're a company that's priding yourself in putting down the fellow wrestlers and fellow companies, I just think that's wrong. I think that's the wrong way to go about it. Like I said, I'm a company who is all about opportunity. If you want to come work with us, if you want to partner with us, we'd love to give you the opportunity. Let your wrestlers come over here and see what they're like, and so our fans can see what your wrestlers are like, and vice versa. Our fans can come to, our wrestlers can come to your company or your area and say, hey, this is what OCW is doing. You should come and also not stop watching your company to watch theirs, but watch them both at the same time. A lot of I think a lot of the fans are, if you're a WWE fan, you can't be an AEW fan. If you're an AEW fan, you can't be a WWE. That's not how that's not how wrestling is. It's you're a fan of wrestling.
Exactly. The tribalism is so tiring and just silly in my estimation. But yeah, I mean, hell, if that was really the case, then I would never have a particular wrestling that I love, because I watch everything. I put in so. I think one of the things I can always tell when I have to take a step back is like, okay, today, I have watched like 6 companies. I've did 3 podcasts. Okay, today is a wrestling free day. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, you
doing
got to do that.
anything. Then that next day, like, boy, I missed it. Let's get back in it. Let's go.
Right. I did that. What was it? It was like a few months. Because I do watch wrestling, but I don't watch it on a weekly basis. I will watch
Right,
clips on YouTube. I'm watching matches, but I'm not watching shows really. But I
right,
think it was after the Cena retirement where I was like, you know what? Let me see what this. Let me try to get in. Let me try to get invested in these shows. And I went on like 3 weeks of watching every televised show, WWE, TNA, NXT. I was watching everything every week. The only reason I had to stop is because I had some other jobs. I worked a few jobs outside of OCW, so just everything was kind of like I was losing time with family doing it that way. So I was like, you know what? Let me dial it back. I'll go back to watching my matches, the matches I want to see, and then most of the time it's again reviewing footage. Hey, every day I'm always watching what can I do different with OCW. I have a playlist of the shows where I just if I'm doing something on my first screen, on my second screen, it's going to be my shows in the background that I can listen to, watch, just to see, oh, you know what? I can do different. This I can do different. Or when I'm booking, I have to do that if I'm going to book because it's the spirit of it. I can't be doing yard work and thinking about wrestling. I'm have wrestling right here so I can think, and then it's like, oh, I got inspired by this. Oh, let me write that down. Oh, that was a good idea right there. Let me write that down.
right, right. I want to take the time to thank you for not just coming on my show, but for the energy you bring. Just this conversation alone, I feel like I can feel the energy. You seem like such a positive person,
I try to be.
and it I can imagine with me and you just having this conversation what it will be like to see you in person and doing your thing. I can imagine how you fire people up.
Oh my goodness, I was just about to bring it up. Oh my god, look, I'll give you a small snippet. So this is how I fire them up. I will come out right because we just got this new tent for an entrance. We didn't have it before. We just got it to where people can actually walk out of a curtain, but it
Right,
actually felt like an entrance. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna have my own entrance, not on camera. It wasn't nothing for camera. It was just so I can feel that energy too. And I picked a song by KB, is a Christian rapper KB, and I'd walk out to it and just the feeling of just overwhelming hype. And I'd come out and I get in the ring and I'm on the mic and I'm getting get that crowd fired up. And I always get I get flack for it from my friends, but right before I start the show officially, I do the "Are You Ready?" From DX
right,
because it's so because when you get when you get into it, or when you get into it, that crowd just lights up, and it's a good thing to do right before that first match hits. And which not taking any credit from that first match, but I tell them like when I get through with it, I go right to the back, to the back, and I'm there. You go, guys. Crowd's fired up for you. Let's go. Come on. And like I said, I just had this conversation with a friend of mine of wanting to be a leader, the best leader I could be, not a boss, not a tell you what to do. It's a leader, lead by example. If I'm going out there and I'm hyping the crowd, I'm not even a wrestler, and I'm going out there like I'm trying to work the crowd in my entrance. If I'm not doing a good job, that's fine, but at least I'm out there trying to do it. Because a lot of people they forget that a promoter promotes. That you got to promote your show. Even at the show, you got to promote your show. You gotta if you're coming to your show and you act like you don't want to be there, your show's gonna fail. So you got to come in with the energy of I'm fired up. I'm glad to be here. And I tell them whether it's 5 people, 50 people, or 500 people, we're coming with the same energy because you never know. Because even if there's 5 people in the crowd, this show's going on YouTube. You never know who's watching. We're followed by Brutal Bob Evans. We're followed by Luke Gallows. we're followed. There's a few guys we're followed by, and you never know who's out here watching, who's gonna see the show and be like, dang, I gotta come out to a show, and then I gotta come scout. Oh, dang, Cobra King's dope. Oh man, that Geo Savage good. Oh, that TIP good. Let me give him my business card. And you never know. I tell him, you never know who's watching.
Exactly. I got last year, I got the privilege to go to a show in Texas and work. First time I've ever been a part of a show. And I had my theme music. I had an entrance. And when I've heard wrestlers many a times tell me that when you go out in front of a crowd, it's almost you get tunnel vision. Okay, yeah, you get tunnel vision, yeah, whatever. But when I experienced it myself, it was like, oh my God, what the? I legitimately, when I stepped out of the curtain until I got in the ring, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see the fans. I didn't see.
Oh no.
I didn't see anything. But the hype was just so amazing. And when I got in the ring, and on top of it, wasn't just the regular ring, it was their all cage match show.
Oh no.
I'm getting in the cage. I just felt it. And then I'm cutting a promo and I'm just hyped. I'm just waving my arms like, yeah, come on. What you sitting on? Then I'm going toe to toe with the owner. Oh my God.
Oh man, that had to been fun.
Best feeling. And I truly, from that point on, I was like, I get it. I truly get why this becomes addictive and why people enjoy it.
You want to get really addicted, try ring announcing. I do my own ring announcing too. And some of them I'm a little iffy on, but when I get into a real good intro and I'm fired up in the ring announcement, it gets the wrestler fired up, and a couple of them come to the back. I was like, man, Mike, that was awesome, dude. That was dope, dude. Can you announce me like that every time? And I got you, dude. I got you. And especially when it's a championship match and I'm in the ring with the wrestlers, I got the card in hand, like I mix it between Justin Roberts and UFC's Bruce Buffer. I try to mix, because those are the two biggest announcers I can think of, Justin Roberts and Bruce Buffer. What can I do to mix those two together to let me do what they do? Because when they are announcing, when Justin Roberts announces, that crowd goes crazy. When Bruce Buffer announces the UFC in the octagon, the crowd goes nuts. And so what can I do to do the same thing? And man, it's a great feeling whenever especially when you hit the long notes. When you hold it, I'll go Geo, and I'll hold it for a good 5, 6, 7 seconds, and the crowd starts because they're impressed, and then Geo would fill in, and he'll wait on me to hit his name, and he'll turn around and it just all meshes well together. It's something, like I said, I tell the guys I'm not a wrestler, so I'm not a wrestler. I've taken bumps in the ring. I've done training, but I've never done a match, so right. I can tell you what I do and don't like, but when it comes to producing spot by spot, I don't really touch into that. I do tell them the time limits and things like that, but I kind of let them go from there as long as it's telling the story I wanted to tell.
Right.
But I'll tell them the production side, that's all me. That's something the cameras got to be in certain place. My cameraman got to be here, there. Lights got to go off at this time. The music's got to hit at this time. Hey, when you hit that entrance at this note. And it's like, that's something that I take pride in.
And again, that is it fires me up. And so again, I can just imagine what it's like being there with you and just seeing your energy and the way you carry yourself. Again, I want to thank you. I'm a big firm believer in giving people flowers when they're deserved. I think a lot of times, a lot of people don't get their flowers that they truly deserve until after they're gone or whatever. I like people to know what you mean when you're doing it. because it's a different feel. And even if you're not the type of person that likes to take credit or be put out there, I still think you should get it, because you work yourself to try to do perfection in the way you think it is. And you can tell with the product you do and the people that work around you how much you truly mean to them. So not only for your fans, not only for the fans of the company, not only for my fans, and not only for me, but for everyone, we would like to thank you so much for doing what you're doing for pro wrestling, because you're definitely leaving the business better than you found it. And that is the key aspect to anything that we do in the wrestling business. So thank you so much for everything you're doing.
No, I do appreciate that. It's not just me. It's first off, I got to give credit to my Lord and Savior Jesus, because if it wasn't for him, again, I wouldn't even be alive to be able to do this. And I got to thank my team too. I think the show has grown exponentially since our first show, and it's not because of me. I do take pride in the production, but if it's not just me doing the production, it's the team doing it. If they wasn't there, the production would not be where it would be. If the wrestlers weren't there, the wrestling wouldn't be where it was supposed to be. So it's not just me. I'm gonna take those flowers you give me, and I'm gonna pass them around to all my people. Because again, OCW would not be where it is had it not been for the guys with me behind the scenes.
And I'm going to tell you why I love that so much. You are the second person to say that. It's not you, it's your team. And that shows how much of a true leader that you are, and the gentleman before, because you recognize, hey, I just play a small part in this. It's the team that makes the success. And I love every moment of that. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Man, guys, girls, thank you so much for joining me around the campfire for another amazing interview.
Can I say one last thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go.
You gave me my flowers. I got to give you yours. I appreciate what you're doing for local indie companies that may not have a platform, may not have people looking at them, and you're giving them the platform to go out there and be like, this is what we do. This is why you should watch our show. And a lot of people would be, well, if I don't like them, no, you're not saying whether you like them or not. It's we want to give you a platform, and I appreciate that from our fans here at OCW. We appreciate you for giving us a platform to showcase what we're about here at OCW.
You're more than welcome. Again, it like you said, it's not about me, it's about wrestling. And there's so many of us out there and they don't know where they can see other great wrestling at. And if WSN has anything to say about it, we're going to help try to promote every promotion out there to get shine, to get more new fans. And just because the bottom line is we all want to enjoy wrestling. And there are so many great promotions out there that people don't know about. Man, if we can't help out, what the hell are we doing in this business? So right. I appreciate that, and I'm real humble for that.
Absolutely.
And one more thing, please give a shout out to anyone you would love to. The floor is yours.
Man, we'd be here all day. Let me get them off the top of my head. I ain't got a list. We'll say shout out my cameraman Donovan. I've shouted out the wrestlers during the show. I've shouted out Donovan. I give him crap all the time, but I call it my secondhand man, Eric Swam. He's a good dude. He helps me with the production side. My wife obviously has been couldn't do it without her support. Shout out the Cleveland Park Commission that we do our shows through. If it wasn't for them giving us the platform, I mean the venue to allow us, and they've been really good. They've been really fair, even going as far as helping us get things like barricades, giving us the venue a night before the show to give us extra time to set up. That way, if we want to come in on the show days and train a little bit, we have plenty of time to do it. Who else I got here? I just had the name and I forgot it. I just had the name. I just had it and I just had the last one. I don't mention him enough, but shout out my man Cody Woods. He's not a part of OCW anymore, but if it wasn't for him, he did start with us. And if it wasn't for him connecting me with the Cleveland Park Commission, OCW would not have been able to birth as easy as it did. And then shout out all the wrestlers we've had on our shows for the last year and almost year and 4 months now, I think. Because again, without the hard work that they do, and shout out all wrestlers in general too, because without the hard work that they do, people like us, people like me who own a show would have no. Try running a show where it's just the CEO. It's not going to happen. So definitely shout out to them. And if I had to give any advice to any of them, it's, man, keep your nose down and keep working. And a big advice I always give everybody. I always say this when I'm talking on the podcast. Always remember, wrestlers, it's not about going over, it's about getting over.
Amen. Amen. Guys, girls, thank you once again for joining me around the campfire. This has been another amazing interview. I hope that y'all really understand what these promoters go through to bring us some great wrestling action, how hard they work, and how they truly believe in their product. And it's an amazing thing. And I'm so very glad and grateful that I've been able to connect with some great, amazing people. As I always say before I leave my show, please, 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 I can't emphasize this enough. Please support your local indie promotion. You do not understand what these guys and girls do to get the opportunity to entertain us, to build themselves up. And you never know who you may see and get invested in go on to be a world champion in the bigger promotions. So definitely, definitely, definitely support your local indie promotions.
And buy the merch, not just of the company, but buy the merch of the wrestlers. A lot of these guys, they live off of that. So definitely support them if you can. Financially support them too.
And most of them are making it themselves. Man, they are putting in the work. So if you can, please support them.
Amen.
With that being said, I am Professor Bear. This has been a Bear's Thought, and we will catch you around the campfire once again. Y'all have a great evening.